As we see later on in Scripture in the book of Hebrews, that every Old Testament prophet, every Old Testament hero and saint that we think of, Jesus is the greater than. Jesus is the better than. And as we read through Scripture to know and to understand that as Abel offers up his sacrifice, and God looks favorably on him, that Jesus himself is the greatest sacrifice, who lays down his life for sins once and for all to those who trust. Jesus is the greater Abel. And as Noah faithfully packs up his family and builds a really gigantic boat to save all of the animals of the earth, Jesus himself faithfully gives his life to save a wicked generation, to give us hope, to give us a future. And as Moses stands up to a great enemy and delivers a million slaves out from underneath the threat of slavery and the threat of death in Egypt, Jesus stands up to sin and to death, and he delivers us out from underneath the slavery to sin that we have, and he delivers us out from underneath the threat that death offers us. And it offers nothing to us anymore because Jesus is the greater than. As we look at Moses, Jesus is the great high priest. As great as Melchizedek was, Jesus pleads for us, and he sits at the right hand of the Father, and he says, that's mine. They're my son. They're my daughter. And as we look at David as conqueror and king, Jesus has already conquered, and he is coming back to rule and to reign. As we look through all of the Old Testament and all of the heroes, Jesus is the better than. So don't just think of it as great Sunday school stories. As we look through the Old Testament, Jesus is identifying himself in all of the pages of the Old Testament, and not just the messianic prophecies, but he can take every square inch of Scripture and say they testify of who I am.